And I think there's a stigma of cannabis that, once you, consume it, that you're going to be high or that you're not going to be able to maintain your everyday things that you need to do. But that's the great thing with the patches, especially with the high CBD patch, because you don't feel any euphoric effects. It's just kind of taking that chip off your shoulder of those everyday aches and pains and making it a little bit more livable.
Is the show for me and you, the one you love to listen to, and ooh, you got your friends, see it through. See, 'cause laughter is medicine too.
Hey friends, I'm Wendy Love Edge, and this is an Edge Show Extra with Synergy Skinworks. And I'm delighted to have with me today two people from Synergy Skinworks, Amelia Siebert, who is the lab director and formulator, and Davina Avra, director of operations. Welcome to the Edge Show.
Hi, Wendy.
Hey, it's so great to meet you. And I have to say, thank you very much, really so much gratitude, because these patches have really changed my life, really helped me with all of my chronic conditions. And right around the time I connected with you folks, I had neck surgery, and it really helped me get through the healing process from the neck surgery. So thank you so much.
That's amazing. We love hearing stories like yours. That's why Mandy 8-9 years ago thought of a way to come up with a product to help people deal with everyday pain over an extended period of time, for people that didn't want to medicate every hour, whatever the case may be. So we love hearing stories like yours, and we're just happy to be helping the people fight the everyday pains and ailments of life.
Yeah, thank you. Again, it is amazing. I also love to see women running business in the cannabis space. So what has it been like for you as women in the cannabis space? What's your story been like with that?
Probably about, in the medical days here in Oregon 8 to 9 years ago, it probably was dominated by men, probably majority of growers and people that we have seen. But throughout the years, definitely we've seen a lot of women in the industry, especially, here in Oregon. There's a lot of women-ran companies. There's a lot of women ran wholesalers. The actual wholesale company that we use is a company ran by an amazing woman here in Oregon. And there's just everybody I can think, like, especially in topicals, there's a lot of companies that are ran by women. And we definitely here at Synergy Skinworks, we have a lot of strong women that are handling the everyday goings on of what we do. So we're really proud of everything that we have done thus far, and the products that we're putting out. We're very passionate about what we do, and we take a lot of pride in it. So it's been an awesome journey thus far.
Fantastic. Yeah. We are seeing more women kind of rising up. It's so good to see, and great to hear that there's lots of them where you are.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we've definitely noticed the cannabis space is great for taking women's pain seriously, especially in the field of menstrual health and things like that. A lot of our patches, people use them during their menstrual cycles to alleviate cramps. And it's just really great to have something non-pharmaceutical, non-painkiller to be able to soothe those aches and pains that almost every single woman go through. So it's really great to have that in the industry. And it's something that really drew me to it as well.
Oh, nice. Yeah, nothing like taking care of our own, for sure, right? So you, Amelia, you are kind of the science mind behind this. And so for our listeners and viewers, we'd love to know a little more about it. What are we talking about? Is this a topical? How does it work? And what's in it?
Well, you know, it's a product that goes on the skin, but actually it's a little bit more like an edible than a topical, but it bypasses the stomach and liver. So that's like the main benefit of transdermal delivery. So you can put it on your skin, anywhere on your body. It doesn't have to be on the aches and pains. And because the product is time release and it's flowing through the skin actively,
you're able to get a fixed dose every hour. So it's just more of a way to medicate for people that can't smoke, that don't want to smoke, or, you know, just a lot of our customers, patients, depending on what state we're talking about, the demographic are usually 50 and over that utilize our patches. And I believe just because, there is thoughts about cannabis with, people that are a little bit older. And there's also, you just stick it and go. Every hour you're going to get a fixed dose directly into the bloodstream. You don't have to remember it. And honestly, I have people that sometimes call me that say, oh, Dee, I used your high CBD patch, and, when I put it on, I really didn't think anything was happening, and I was saying placebo. They call me 2 days later and like, you know what, Dee, I just ripped that patch off my skin and all those aches and pains are back. And I definitely take back every word I said to you before. This patch is working. And I think there's a stigma of cannabis that, once you, consume it, that you're going to be high or that you're not going to be able to maintain your everyday things that you need to do. But that's the great thing with the patches, especially with the high CBD patch, because you don't feel any euphoric effects. It's just kind of taking that chip off your shoulder of those everyday aches and pains and making it a little bit more livable, and it's not going to take it away, but it's definitely going to take that chip off your shoulder.
One thing we do like to say is it's about what you don't feel.
Exactly.
So sometimes if you're dealing with like a lot of pain and stuff, you might put on the patch and think nothing's going on, but really it's kind of soothing that pain in the background and just making it possible to live your life.
Right.
Yeah.
And you don't have the smell to worry about.
Exactly.
Whether, I know there's various controversies about smoking. I'm a smoking cannabis proponent, but I do recognize that people are concerned about that. So it's a nice alternative because it's a patch. It's interesting that you say it's like an edible.
Yeah. Sorry, I lost my train of thought on that one.
Oh, no worries.
Compare it to an edible, since it does go directly into the bloodstream, any euphoria you feel is a little bit more like that body high. It's not quite as like euphoric as smoking a joint or something like that, but you do kind of feel that light, kind of heavy sensation, like a really mild edible. One way we like to describe it, so bioavailability in the stomach for cannabis is about 10%. So when you're consuming an edible, you're getting only about 10% of the effects from the cannabinoids.
Wow.
And our patch, since they dose directly into the bloodstream, you get about 2 milligrams per hour. And we like to say that's like taking a 10 milligram edible every single hour. So you're basically getting that nice light body high dose every hour just to kind of keep you stable.
Right.
So we're actually kind of categorized as an edible hybrid here in Oregon, since we do have those body effects. And since it does go into the bloodstream, we're kind of like a special topical that while it does go on the skin, it goes into the bloodstream. So it's kind of a little bit more like an edible.
Right. I love that. And just so much more bioavailability. That's amazing.
Bypassing the liver is huge. And it's especially great for people that deal with like liver cirrhosis and things like that, where they may not want to introduce cannabinoids into their liver just in case.
Or people just, don't even want to introduce sugars or celiacs or whatever the case may be. So there's definitely a lot of benefits when it comes to that with transdermal delivery.
Nice. So what else is in there? So you've got the patch. What chemicals are in there?
Well, we use a blend of pressure-sensitive adhesives. It's a blend of butylene rubber and acrylic, which we found is some of the lowest allergizing adhesives that you can use. We're silicone and latex-free. I have extremely sensitive skin, so I'm very mindful about those kinds of big allergens when we're formulating the patches. Other than that, it's just our pressure sensitive adhesive blend and cannabis. So all you're getting is that full spectrum cannabis oil going directly into the bloodstream. You don't need to worry about penetration enhancers, maybe carrying something you don't want going into your bloodstream. Don't have to worry about any other ingredients like preservatives and things like that because it's a water-free system, just oil and adhesive. So you're just making sure you're getting good, clean, full spectrum cannabis oil whenever you want it.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And so it comes in a package and you open it up. And one thing that I love is I can figure out, you know, how much I want to. So I cut them in thirds and it works great for me. Maybe for someone else, they might need the whole patch or half of it or whatever. But I love that about it as well. And so do you recommend that people start with just a third of the patch and figure out what works for them?
Yeah, I definitely, I do a lot of, education with bud tenders. I go to shops in all states and talk to the staff. I honestly, when I talk to a customer or a patient, I like to actually talk to them. I like to know their story. Do you use cannabis regularly? I kind of like to get a gauge, because I've been a long time cannabis user. I use the patches regularly. I use a lot of cannabis products regularly. And, if it's somebody that's telling me, Wendy, that, hey, I've never used cannabis before, but I have all these aches and pains. And my son told me that I should go use cannabis. It might help me or whatever the case may be. I would probably tell them to cut it. I'd probably tell them to cut it into quarters, put on a quarter the first time, put it on in about a half an hour. And if you feel like you are still getting a little bit of pain or you're not feeling the effects as much, put on the other quarter. So now you got on half of a patch, right? And then after that, if you feel like, oh, those pains are, feeling like they're not there any longer, I'm definitely feeling a lot better, then you kind of know what your dosage is going to be. I actually have this 82-year-old lady. She lives in Eugene, Oregon. She's used our patches since the medical days, and she still calls me to this day, probably like once a year. She's really nice. Her name's Betty. But she cuts our patches into 8 pieces. And she actually puts them behind her ear, and it just helps her with everyday aches and pains. That's probably somebody that I've talked to that cuts them into the most pieces that I've ever spoken to. Right. But everybody's different. And I feel like that's the thing with cannabis. Nobody's ever going to be the same. Everybody's tolerance is different. So it kind of, to start out in quarters to me is a good way to start, just so you can kind of get the feel. Now, if you put on a quarter on and you're like, whoa, this is a lot, I could cut that quarter in half. Sure. That's the awesome thing about our patches, because it still lasts the same amount of time. It still sticks the same. You're just going to divide out the milligrams of whatever patch you use into whatever you cut it into.
Nice. Yeah, I love that about cannabis as well, just that it's really self-driven medical care. Yes. And, everybody is different. So it's nice that people can kind of figure that out. I have a question about placement, because I remember when I first spoke with the owner of the company, Mandy, and I asked her, I have specific areas where I have pain, and should I put it there? And she said, no, the medicine goes where the blood flows, right? I love that.
We do too.
But I have noticed, so for instance, I have issues with my Achilles tendons because I have psoriatic arthritis. If I put it right on the Achilles tendon, it seems like it works better. But I know that that's not, I don't know if it's just, placebo effect or mind over matter or what, but have you heard that?
Yes, there are cannabinoid receptors in the skin that will uptake some cannabinoids as they're flowing through the patch and getting to your bloodstream. Some of them might get diverted to those CB2 receptors that live in your skin. So you might be able to feel it a little bit quicker if you put it on the spot that is aching, but sometimes that's not possible and you don't really need to. You'll still get that dose because it'll pass the blood-brain barrier. It'll still affect you the same way, because all pain is really in your head. You know, like it's all coming from your brain. The spot is injured and it may be like hurting, but if we can like go through the brain, we can tamp down those feelings
Yeah.
of pain.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, well, maybe it's not in my head, so to speak. Maybe
Yeah,
this,
it's like the pain is real, but where
yeah,
are you feeling it is in
No.
the head.
Absolutely. And I've spoken to hundreds of people over the years that we've been doing this. And I can tell you that probably 80% of people I speak with, they tell me that it works quicker or it feels better when they put it on the pain, you know. And I think a lot of it is mind over matter.
yeah. Well,
But,
if
you
you
know,
think
hey,
about,
if you feel that and you think it's working better, by all means do
right,
it.
right. Well, if you think about it, even when something hurts and you put pressure on it, you put your hands on it,
Absolutely.
it feels better. So
Absolutely.
that there's that too, you know.
Absolutely. No, I agree 100%.
Yeah, and I don't want to say that it's all in your head,
Yeah.
but
I knew you meant in the brain. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, that's where we feel is in the brain. I don't want to delegitimize your pain or anything here. I'm
No,
sorry.
no, I didn't feel that. I understood. Thank you, though.
Yeah.
So there are four types of patches, correct?
There's a high CBD patch, there's a CBD one-to-one patch, there's an entourage patch, and then there's a THC patch. Probably our best-selling patch here in Oregon, I'm probably going to be able to give you the best, you know, percentages in Oregon because we're in Oregon and it's actually the state the patches have been in the longest. Probably our best sellers, probably our one-to-one patch, followed by our entourage and high CBDs, probably um, tied, probably really, really close if I was to run the numbers. Where our THC patch has always been the least selling SKU. And I think that's because when people are looking for THC products, usually they're looking, or at least higher percentage of THC products, they are looking to smoke a joint or take a dab or whatever the case may be.
The THC patch also tends to do really well in places that have a lot of extreme sports. We tend to notice in Bend, Oregon, there's a lot of like white water rafters and hikers and stuff like that. So when you're not able to just light up a joint on a raft or something, the THC patch is nice because then, you know, you can still get your munchies and still feel like your normal self and whatnot.
Mhm.
It's also great for cessation. So if you're trying to lower the amount you smoke, or like if you're told like you have COPD and you can't smoke anymore or something like that, but you still want those effects and maybe you want to like cut back on smoking, the THC patch is great as like a nicotine patch type idea where it's like, okay, I can't smoke anymore, but I still want to enjoy THC. So you just get that little bit of dose every hour just to keep you going.
Good point, Em.
Yeah, I love that. It's funny, my top two would be the one-to-one and the entourage for sure.
Yeah.
But I'm a big
I love
entourage proponent anyway. So, you know, I think we need all parts of the plant.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely. Well, and everybody has different ailments, you know. So they're looking for those different cannabinoids to help them with those ailments. The Entourage patch is our newest SKU, even here in Oregon. We introduced that, what, about 2.5 years? Yeah, about 2 to 2.5 years ago, we brought on the Entourage patch. We actually brought it on because of the demand of the customers wanting to see those other cannabinoids in a patch. In the first year we released it, it was actually probably the first year and a half was the best selling patch we offered here in Oregon. But it, you know, not that the popularity went down, but I just think there's more dispensaries out there now where the one-to-one, which has always been a great seller for us, and there's a lot of cannabis users in Oregon. So they're looking for that ratio of the THC and the CBD. So yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
So I understand you have quite a lot of patch users in Arkansas, where I am. You were telling me that people really reach out to you a lot. Is that the number one in Arkansas also? Do you know the?
You know, I do not know what the number one patch is in Arkansas. It'd probably be really easy to find out. I just would have to talk to our partners in Arkansas
Uh-huh.
because I know they are definitely always have their their info together. I mean, they are definitely big players there in Arkansas. And
Oh, the
they're
Bolt team is wonderful.
oh, they're
Yeah.
awesome. Like they just like the team they have. Yeah, the
Oh,
team
look
they
at
have out there.
that. Nice.
But I can tell you, Wendy, a lot of the people that I've spoken to that have called me are talking about the high CBD patch. So I would, if I was going to take an estimated guess, and now I'm curious, so I am going to reach out to her, and I probably should have before this interview. I would probably guess probably the high CBD patch would be my guess of probably the
Okay.
best selling patch in Arkansas.
Yeah, we tend to do really well with the high CBD patch in medical only markets.
Yes.
That's like where
Very
the high
true, and-
CBD patch
yep.
really shines.
I
Because
think,
people aren't looking to get high. They're just looking for something to help with their pain.
right. Yeah, and they're discreet and they can use them, the CBD patch, while they're working. So I can understand that. Yeah, that's really, it's brilliant, so people can kind of get through their day and manage their symptoms. Um, so, so the patches are here in Arkansas and in Oregon, and I believe, is it one other state that you have?
Synergy Skin Works right now, our patches are in Arkansas, Oregon, and Montana. We do have a couple other partners in 2 other states, which is Pennsylvania and Missouri. But we manufacture the patches for those 2 states. They actually use their own branding. So yeah. Same.
So if someone is interested in having the patches in their state, what is your process for that? And I know, compliance is an issue, right? For each state is so different or can be so different.
Yes.
So how do you manage all that, Dee?
Well, we first off, if somebody wants to get the patches in their state, we have a Synergy Skinworks website, and Worx is WORX. They can contact us. There's also a contact us. If you're looking for manufacturing, you can put in your information. The states that we're in thus far, that's pretty much been Mandy cold calling those states and explaining to them what we do. And we go out and look at the facility and make sure it's something that we're able to manufacture in. We have the machinery, so we need to make sure that they have all the electrical needs for our machinery. And then we start getting affiliated and vetted in those states. We got to take tests. We have to do background checks. Some are more stringent than others, of course. And then we will, Mandy sends all the necessities of what we need to start the manufacturing. We set a date and we are a roadshow and we go down and we manufacture their patches. If it is a Synergy Skinworks brand, we do it from beginning to end. We handle the manufacturing and the production, and we even handle all the packaging. Mandy has spent a lot of time on the branding over the years, and we just want to make sure not saying not everybody's going to do it right, because that's not what I'm saying at all, but we like to make sure it has our passion behind everything, even down to just putting the patch into the package.
Right. I love that, you're kind of quality control, making sure that it's consistent. Mm-hmm.
We are super, we're all probably a little borderline OCD around here. We got an amazing crew here in Oregon. I've been here since day one. I managed Mandy's medical dispensaries 9-10 years ago now. M's been here for over 5 years. Bob's been here for probably 8 years. And we just got a really awesome team. We work together. We're like family. We work together. So some of us are family. We work together great. We all have amazing work ethic. We are all super passionate about the product, because we have all been in situations where we have talked to consumers and patients, heard life stories, and we know the product works. And we feel proud about putting a product out there that's helping people live their lives and having pain-free lives or just livable lives. And that's just the passion behind of what we do. Mandy didn't invent transdermal delivery by any means. But back in the medical days, I don't know if she told you the story when she owned the shop, a lot of people would come out of state because Oregon recognized other states as long as they had their medical cards in those states. We had people flying in from Florida, other states all the time trying to purchase RSO. And it's, if you've ever done RSO, it's really hard to explain. You take your serving size is going to be the size of the top of a toothpick. That's a really hard thing to explain to somebody that's fighting stage 4 cancer, whatever the case may be. And, Mandy started thinking, what's a way we could put a product out there that people are going to get relief and they're going to do it every hour, or even if it's somebody that's bedridden and that's not able to get up every hour and to do it. So she started doing research. That research took about a year to almost 2 years, I believe, started reaching out to doctors, and she found somebody that wanted to do some research and development with her. And a couple years later, we have transdermal patches in Oregon.
The rest
So
is
a
history.
lot of time and research went into that. Mandy's she's a bright woman, and she puts something in her head. She's going to figure out a way to make it happen.
Yeah, that's a fantastic story of
No,
seeing a need.
that's a very true story, and that is what started the company of the transdermal patches. Just because she had people flying in, a majority of them were from Florida. It was really funny, but she had a majority of people flying in and buying thousands of dollars of RSO, and then they're leaving the dispensary with all that RSO, and we told them how to take it and how they should do it and stuff. But still, if you take too much of that product, you feel intoxicated. So that just kind of led her to figure out different ways of people medicating and how we can get it into people's hands and
Right. Yeah.
streams.
Yeah, it's especially great for people who can't eat, or if they have a
Exactly.
caretaker who
Exactly.
needs to apply it to them as well.
Yeah.
Like that's a big thing that
Yeah.
we've heard. Oregon recently allowed cannabis to be administered in nursing homes
Yes.
and things like that. So
Really?
Yes.
yeah, so like
That makes me
nurses are
so happy.
Yeah.
I'm
really
also
great.
an
It's really helping
occupational
develop that.
therapist, and I do some work, a lot of work in geriatrics. And it's so hard, I can't even talk to them about it. And I know
Yeah.
how much it would really help, especially the patches.
Yes.
So I just love it that you're medically focused, that you're thinking about medical conditions, and it's just that's cannabis to me is medicine, and you're treating it as such, and that's one of the things that really attracted me to your company and your products. So thank you for that as well.
And that makes us happy that you're saying that, because that's what we intended to do.
Yeah, like some people still are afraid of smoking, but they've heard of a patch. It's something that can like bring in even the most skeptical and
Mhm.
really open their eyes to what's possible with cannabis.
Yeah, that's amazing. So what's in the future? Do you have other formulations that you're thinking about, or where are we going with the patches from here?
We here in Oregon, we love to figure out ways to come up with niche products. We really like to kind of think outside the box. So we do have some things we're working on right now here in Oregon. That we definitely anything that we manufacture, we will always offer to our partners in other states. So we are definitely working out some things at this time. In Oregon, we have patches and lotions. Lotions actually, we came on with the lotions a little later in the game because we just came out with them about 2 years ago. But this year they're starting to really, really take off. So we're excited about the lotions here as well. But we definitely have some things in the woodworks.
Yeah, my partner and I, Bob, have been working our booties off trying to come up with new formulations, especially staying in that time release and transdermal categories. We're working on a transdermal gel right now so that in case you do want to frequently dose or something like that, there's another option for you. It's great. We haven't launched it on the market yet, but a little sneak peek for you.
Nice, nice. I figured you must have some things coming up because you're so innovative and really, really appreciate what you're doing. Please mention the website and any contact information so people can get in touch with you.
Yes, www.synergyskinworks.com. And again, the works is WORX. Info@synergyskinworks.com. Or, on our website, there will be links to reach Mandy. And that's just Mandy@synergyskinworks.com. Or you can reach out to me, and I'm Davina, and that's DAV as in Vicky, INA @synergyskinworks.com. We definitely pride ourselves on getting back with people immediately, even if it's customers, patients, but if it's something that someone's looking to launch in their state, give us a call. We'd love to talk to you. We have goals every year. Last year, we broke those goals of how many states we wanted to launch in. This year, we have new goals, and we're hoping to surpass those. I went a little bit light on my goals this year because Mandy was a little bit heavier than I was like, whoa, she's got big plans. No. We're big believers. If there's a will, there's a way, and we're going to get it done. We definitely have the team to do it, and we feel good about it.
Yeah, and if you do end up contacting us and wanting to manufacture patches in your state, you'll be working with me personally. I make custom formulations for anyone who doesn't want the standard Synergy Skinworks brand and things like that. We've done a variety of different formulations of different cannabinoids. There's some that are like high CBG and CBN patches and things like that. So
Great.
if you end up manufacturing, you'll be working with Amelia.
Well, I bet that's a pleasure. Thank you. I love it that you can make formulations, that a company is looking for, if they're looking to address sleep or inflammation, and you're trying to make some solutions. Just like in the beginning, really, Mandy saw a need and filled that need. And so thank you for that as well. Well, this has been delightful. I'm so glad you joined me here on the Ed Show. And do you have any final thoughts you'd like to add?
No, we just super excited to get our names out there and put the patches out to. We want to be in every state, of course.
I would love to see that. Yeah.
No, me too. It's just a nice, alternative way of medicating, and for people that have everyday pains, just like you said, the medicine goes where the blood flows, and everybody's blood's flowing. So if you are having those aches and pains, try a patch. It doesn't, a very small percentage of people it doesn't work on, but majority of the time I do hear positive feedback. So, the most important thing, and I want to say this while we're on this call, is to make sure, and I know a lot of this training might get lost at the dispensaries or the medical shops, is to utilize the alcohol prep pad that's in every single package and clean your skin properly before you adhere the patch. That's one of the most important things that is forgotten or not given the information to the consumers prior to purchase. But I just want to put that out there since I know you're going to have a lot of people watching this. That's the number one thing I always tell people when they put on the patches, to utilize that alcohol prep pad.
I'm really glad that you mentioned that here at the end, because we didn't talk about it earlier, but it is the instructions stated in there, but I bet people bypass that. And I have put it on without doing that, and it's really not as effective. You really need to clean your skin first.
Exactly.
We all have sebum and dead skin cells and sweat and all of that stuff that builds up on our skin. And removing that just makes the passive diffusion that much easier for the patch.
Well, thank you so much for joining me. And again, just mention the website one more time for people.
Yeah, it's www.synergyskinworks.com. Works is RX and info@synergyskinworks.com.
Wonderful. Amelia and Dee, thank you so much for joining me.
It's
Thank
been a
you.
pleasure.
I am super excited today because I am introducing you to Synergy Skinworks, your trusted source for medicinal cannabis patches. That's right, a transdermal system for cannabis medicine. And it doesn't matter where you place it on your body because the medicine goes where the blood flows. It's 97% bioavailable in this form, and the patch won't move if you sweat or get it wet. They are available in all 38 dispensaries in Arkansas and also in Oregon and Montana, and I just know they're going to be available all across the country because it is brilliant. As a patient, I find them to be discreet, easy to use, and I can place it and forget about it for 24 hours. As a health professional, I love it that patients can give their lungs a break. If you'd like, you can learn more at synergyskinworks.com. And I've got my patch on. Peace out.